going on? Welcome back to No Clue Podcast, episode 178. We are back. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mike.
I'm Tyler. Welcome.
An
back.
Eventful second round to recap.
Yes. Very eventful. We didn't prepare our three things we learned, so we're just gonna go back and forth based on what we learned.
Yeah, because some teams there's a lot more to learn than others.
Unfortunately. Okay.
Where do you want to start?
Let's go. Let's go Warriors first.
Okay.
No. Well, it's up to you. Where do you want to start?
Let's go Warriors. Let's talk about the 2 game 6s.
Yeah.
Or the 2 series that ended in 6, and then the series that ended yesterday.
Yeah, so everyone listening, those will be coming up. We're going to start with the shorter series first. So the Warriors got absolutely demolished game 5, right? That was game 5?
Yeah.
55 points at one point?
Yeah.
Did it end 55 points?
No. They made it like a regular looking blowout.
Yeah, 55 points at one point. No John Morant. Memphis was just completely on fire. They were in Memphis. One thing about this particular game, it's tough with the Warriors because you never know when the Warriors are like coasting.
Yeah.
Because the Warriors have been known to just take a game off if they know they can beat people. So I didn't think too much of that. So I wasn't at all surprised when the next game they blew Memphis out at home. A lot of the guys shot a lot better. They just looked like a well-oiled machine at home. And they still really didn't shoot fantastic, but they shot a lot better. They moved a lot better. They played really good defense. I wasn't surprised at all. I think we both kind of we both kind of knew Warriors would come out of this. Yeah. So what do you have to say about it? What do you have to say about Memphis too?
Memphis is interesting because they're so young and they showed so much upside this year that they're the only team that's coming out of the playoffs without real like heavy concerns.
Mm-hmm.
To me, they really don't need to do anything but pay whoever they want to keep, which I'm hoping is most of the rotation guys.
Yeah.
And a little more more of a commitment to playing a certain way.
Right.
They don't have an offensive identity like the Warriors. I'm looking like a team like Miami has, a team like Dallas. A lot of these playoff teams, they have an identity. Mm-hmm. So when they struggle, you kind of know, you have an idea of what they're going to go to. With Memphis, I had no clue what that would look like.
See, and that's why I may disagree a little bit, because I think that because they don't really have an identity and don't really have the structure that you're talking about, I think that if this offseason is where they really decide, do we want to go for a championship next season, or do we want to just keep being really good? Because I think Memphis as a franchise has been teetering on that for a long time.
Yeah.
They never quite got to we're going to go for a championship level. They were always one player away, one injury away, 2 players away every single time. The one year,
they've so often, even with that, they've so often exceeded expectations to the point where you're really thinking like maybe they are a contender already.
The Lionel Hollins team was a Rudy Gay injury away from being from being a real contender.
I know.
So I mean, they've been in that situation. So I think this offseason they have to choose, okay, we bring everyone back. Are we a real contender? Or are we just going to be a really, really good young team again? And we go surprise everyone in the regular season, and we go maybe surprise someone in the first round and get beat in the second round again, over and over and over again, which is what they basically did Conley's whole career. The thing is, if they do choose the opposite route, I think that the guys they have right now have the highest trade value they'll ever have. Bain will never be a higher trade value. Brooks will probably never be a higher trade value. Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson, if they were to trade him, all those guys will never be higher than they were this season.
Even a guy like Tyus Jones.
Tyus Jones been bouncing around the league a little bit. Got, some teams have ruled him unworthy to be on a roster. This
Even the
is the
other
time.
guard they have is really good.
Melton, D'Anthony Melton.
Yeah, Melton.
Yeah. So I'm looking at that and I say, okay, well, do we bring these guys back, and where are we? Or I have all these guys at the highest value probably of their lifetimes. Is now the time I trade 2 or 3 of them and go for someone like Beal, like Levine, any of those guys who are kind of open to being moved.
Yeah.
I think you have to really consider that. Even a big, if they were to go for a big or a forward, since Jaren Jackson shoots so many threes, I could see them maybe trying to go for a Randall, going for a John Collins. I don't know, whatever. But I could see them looking at the roster and say, these guys can go now. We have Ja coming back full strength. If we don't lose much, keep the core, I could see them being contenders. But I don't think they're contenders with this team next season.
And I think we could disagree on that, but what kind of proves my point is they have the option to do either one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
To your point of all their guys are extremely valuable. They clearly know how to win games. So even if maybe they're not a contender, they're still going to be making noise next year.
Oh, they will for sure.
Right. Sure. So to me, having like literally any kind of direction option you could choose.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're in good shape.
They are in good shape. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very
100%.
excited to see like their offseason. If they do decide to be active, could be very interesting.
Could. Really, really, really could.
Yeah.
So do you have anything to say about the Warriors, really?
It's interesting how they're probably the only team in the league that still has a switch.
Yeah.
We're used to 10 years ago, used to be able to watch the NBA and 3 to 5 teams had a legitimate switch.
Yeah.
They could just elevate and go from maybe they're having a tough time in the first round to 4-1 quickly.
Yep.
Now, most of the teams in the league are either too young, too limited, just don't know how to win yet. Yeah. Golden State has all that.
Yep. You're right.
So besides that, I mean, nothing about their play style surprised me.
And to me, they really haven't even fully flipped the switch yet.
Nah.
That's the scary part, because any team can try to prepare for how they've been playing, but you can't prepare for Steph to be on. You can't prepare for Poole to be on. You can't prepare for Clay to be on. And you definitely can't prepare for all 3 of them to be on. There's nothing, there's just no preparation that could possibly be done. And really, they've all just been kind of off.
Yeah. But that's something that happens in the playoffs, and showing that you can win not shooting the ball well is, again, what separates you from all the other playoff teams to making a deep run.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think we'll talk more about the Warriors when we discuss their matchup.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say about them just reacting to this series.
Okay. Let's take it back to the East. 76ers and Heat. I think there was only 1 game left after our last recording, wasn't there? Or 2, maybe?
Nah, because we went after the first 2 games, didn't we?
Oh, Embiid didn't come back yet.
Embiid was back right after we went, I believe.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So Embiid came back and they made it competitive. But fast forward, it's over. He looked fantastic in the last game to me.
Yeah. Again, we could talk Miami with the matchup. This was a tough series to really analyze Miami because, I mean, they were better.
Yeah, and Embiid not being there, and even when Embiid came back, it just
He was
didn't
hurt, man.
completely flow.
He looked hurt. He was moving hurt. And
Yeah,
it's not like it was limiting what he could do. I know he didn't really play well a couple of the games, but the effort was there the whole time.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. This one is tough to talk about a lot. But obviously we talked about Harden for so long last time. Um,
And he managed to exceed expectations.
he just does not look like he wants to win anymore to me. And I'll say that just based off the last game because it's game it went 6 games.
Yeah.
Game 5 was that the game he played great?
4. The last one they won, he played well. Game 4.
Game 4, yeah, he played fantastic.
Really good
And it's like,
energy. Was
yeah,
very competitive on both ends.
yep,
I thought he'd keep playing that way, honestly.
yeah. And the thing is, as a basketball player, usually, especially someone at his echelon, usually you get a taste of that, and it's like,
You
blood
build
to
on
a
that.
vampire. Yeah. Once you get a taste of how good it feels to dominate again, I don't understand why you don't just go do it again and again. And the thing is, it's not like Harden isn't good. To me, I just see the lack of him trying to dominate. I don't see him going out there even trying to get buckets. He took least amount of shots over like a 20 game span that he has his whole career. I mean,
I,
what can you say about someone like that?
Honestly, I wanted to come on here and be like, Harden played great, they lost. Harden played like trash, he lost. But of course, Harden had to prove my point of I've called him a loser for what, a year plus now, 2 years.
Yeah.
And what's really disturbing is even though people haven't really engaged to be that harsh on him like I have,
Yeah.
I haven't heard a single human being disagree with me on that.
Right.
And like now with what just happened, the basketball world is not surprised.
I know it's almost like they're just tired. They're so tired of even wondering what the problem is that
I mean,
they don't even want to
honestly,
talk
how
about
can
it.
you not call that a Paul Crew moment? It looked like he was
Yeah.
shaving points.
Yeah.
Bro, not a single cut. Not a single cut. Not one time do you get low and move your feet. Not once. I mean, the disgusting turnovers, not one time do you sprint back.
Right.
I mean, dude, you laughed. Forget before I talk about what you laughed at. The first thing you said coming into the series was he was going to be a threat. He couldn't even do that.
No, he couldn't. And I really thought he was. I mean, and at the times where he was, they looked good.
I
And
know.
then,
And all he has to do, like, please, James, I just need you to try. And that's the one thing he couldn't do.
yeah.
That was just so, it was just disappointing, man. Because you were laughing at me talking about Tyrese Maxey being their second best player. He was their second best player the whole series.
When he wanted to be. And the thing is, I could see his energy getting sucked out of him too.
Yeah,
Throughout
that
the
last
series.
game, 1000%.
And other times where I'm like, Maxey is normally aggressive in this situation, and Maxey was doing nothing. Yeah. And the thing is, Harden at least will dribble the ball for 20 seconds of the shot clock. Maxey will literally do nothing. If he's not doing anything, he's literally doing nothing. And that makes it even worse when you have two guys out there not being aggressive. It was a disaster.
But
And
you can't have expectations for a second year guy who's just now coming into like a prominent rotation role.
But if he's done it all season, I can.
I mean,
he did it all season.
My star guard quit on the team.
No, I understand, but that doesn't mean Maxey has to quit on the team too.
He didn't. He still got shots. He still attacked when there was some fucking movement in the offense.
Yeah, but listen, we watched Maxey play 4-on-5 one time, right?
Yeah.
I know that if all people, I don't expect him to quit on the team, but of all people on the entire roster, I expect him to be the one guy who's always aggressive. That's like the only thing that I expect out of him.
But
And I was
honestly,
surprised when he wasn't.
it's just tough as the game went on. Embiid is trying so hard, and he was playing awful, but like
Yeah,
he was almost trying too hard, where he's trying to like dive for every rebound and like make every hustle play. Meanwhile, he can't make a fucking jumper to save his life. But again, a guy's battling through a ton of injuries. He's at least trying. At least we could come on here and say, yo, Embiid needed to be better.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tobias needed to be better. Maxey needed to be better. But at least I'm not looking at them like they got to compete harder.
Right. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
So again, Harden just sucked the fucking life out the team as I expected him to do.
What are we going to say about the coaching?
And the last point, I guess, because besides that, I mean, there's really nothing else to say about their roster.
Right.
Besides the names we mentioned, nobody else has any significant impact.
No.
Doc, he just sucks, bro. Like, honestly. and it's, I say that obviously he's not a bad NBA coach. I mean, he had a historic collapse with the Clippers, immediately got a job, and none of us had a problem with it.
He's had a historic collapse with every team he's had. And the thing is, we know he's good enough to be an NBA coach, but we know what comes with that. Every team he's had has had crippling personality issues within the team every single time. And the big three demolished. It was like that much talent. Ray, Pierce still don't talk to each other. Like to this day, for what happened under Doc's watch, that we've got NBA Hall of Famers that still aren't friends.
A decade later.
Yeah.
They could barely have a real exchange at like common award shows.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't understand why Doc had to come into the series putting a target on his own back. Like, Doc, you go from reminding us of your like worst moments in history, how they weren't your fault.
He laid all of them out.
Yeah. So you put your own target on your own back, and then at the end of the series, you lose. You lost, and you have the nerve to say, I think I do a damn good job. Who says that after a loss?
Right.
Doc, you're employed. You just got put in the top 15 coaches of all time. Doc, obviously you do a good job.
Yeah.
The fact that you need to hear it, I mean, that's part of the fucking leadership problem that you've had on every roster.
Right.
I mean, beyond Doc, just like I said, putting a target on the team's back. I mean, what is this rotation?
Terrible.
I talked about it the first two games. Everybody in the fucking league knows DeAndre Jordan's washed up except Doc.
Right.
I mean, bro, listen to their sixth man was Niang. Did he make a fucking three-pointer all series? It didn't look like it, even if he did.
He had one good game. I think he hit two in one game.
I missed that one. Good for him. But he was abysmal in every game that I watched.
Yeah, he was. He was bad.
And he played up until the end of the series. He's playing the most minutes by far of any bench player.
Yeah. Bro, I think he was.
Like, Doc, what are we doing? He's literally doing nothing. You're ruining your rotation, putting a guy out there to do nothing.
And get exposed.
And then at the end of the series, Doc decided, wow, I have like the rest of my roster that I can maybe turn to. Maybe I'll start playing Korkmaz a little bit more. Maybe I'll start playing Shake Milton. All of a sudden, game 6, Shake Milton's my sixth man.
I know. I didn't see Korkmaz for 3 games. I saw Shake in there
Right.
trying to get something done. I didn't see Paul Millsap the whole series.
The whole series.
Yeah.
I mean, we just saw it with Nash not playing Blake, and Doc turns around and just plays Niang. Bro, Niang, who has no real rotation experience, no real playoff minutes that he spent contributing, and he's your sixth man.
I would think Paul Millsap has the most playoff minutes on the roster,
You're probably right.
other than Harden, maybe. But I can't imagine anyone else having more playoff minutes and getting a DNP healthy. I'm definitely picking. I don't care. I haven't seen Paul Millsap play in a year, and I'm definitely picking him over Niang.
100%, bro. And I'm the same. I'm on the same page. I haven't liked Millsap in half a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, even when he was getting actual minutes on Denver, I wanted him out of the lineup.
Right. But that was only because Jeremy Grant was so good.
Right.
Like now, I want him in the lineup because there's nobody else better. You know,
bro, you're in the playoffs. You need smart basketball players on the court. You can't have them on the sitting on the fucking bench while DeAndre Jordan is playing.
Right.
And it felt like he never wanted to give Reed a good amount of clock.
I know. Reed
Whole
made
series.
one. Every time Reed fouled once, he came out the game. One foul.
I mean, Doc, what are we doing? We're trying to play zone against the best zone team in the league. We're not getting any of our playmakers into good spots. Harden is quitting on the team, and we're going into timeouts still like this.
Yeah.
Bro, after the fucking bubble, I would think you'd cut that shit out. After getting torched by Trae Young last year, I would think you would cut that shit out. I mean, Doc still thinks it's okay. The team is playing absolutely disgusting, and I'm gonna go in the timeout clapping my hands like we're right there.
You always get on Doc for clapping his hands.
Bro, he does it when they're playing like ass.
You've been getting on him for that for like 8 years.
Since the bubbles. No. Since the bubble, when 3 straight games they're blowing leads, and he's just like this the whole time. He's already getting exposed with his fucking huddles getting leaked out with him not saying shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
we got to talk about that a little more too later.
He goes into the fourth quarter giving the coach's interview. We have plenty of time.
Wait a second.
I swear to God, he goes into let me just paint the whole picture. He goes into the fourth quarter on the verge of getting blown out. They interview him. He says, obviously we got to clean things up, like mentions a couple of things they're doing poorly, and says, like, we have plenty of time. 2 minutes later, the game is over. And he calls a timeout when the game is completely out of reach after, of course, a Harden turnover.
Yep.
Clapping his fucking hands. The team went from on the verge of blowout to blown the fuck out. And he's still like this. I can't deal with that shit, honestly.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, you got to have, and we're going to talk about another coach in a similar manner, but you have to have a real voice. You can't just be like, guys, let's make sure we're all sticking together.
Right.
Like, that's not enough.
Right.
Otherwise, Steph wouldn't even need Draymond Green on the fucking team.
Right.
But again, I expected some level of self-awareness from Doc, and I got none of it. And yet the team has the management of the team has full confidence that he'll do a good job moving forward.
Right.
Good luck.
Especially with Harden there. That
was a letdown, man. And they made Jimmy Butler look like a fucking, like, a easy Hall of Famer.
Without even breaking a sweat.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Where do you think Philly goes is the question. Do they pay Harden?
Did you see the meme of of people seeing what Doc's clipboard looks like, and it's like a
Yes. Yes. Oh
anyway.
my God.
Where do they go from here, with Harden or without? Are you asking me? Do they go with Harden?
Which would you prefer?
Um, I would go with Harden, me personally.
Really?
Yeah, because if you don't, like, what else are you gonna do? Like, what's their other option? It's either with Harden or without him, and I'd rather be with him than without him.
You're right.
Because
Looking
if you
at
let
this
him
roster,
go,
you're right.
yeah, if you let him go, Shake Milton starting at the 2.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, if we let him go,
Probably Korkmaz, but yeah.
if we let him go and get nothing, I'm starting Korkmaz or Niang, because Danny Green's gonna miss all of next season.
Yeah, shout
So
out to Danny Green, by the way. That sucked.
I know Embiid needs to stop freaking falling down, bro. It's
He
too
literally
big to
fell
be
down that
falling
whole
down.
game. Oh my God.
And
The whole game.
yeah,
Every fucking other play, he's on the floor.
yep. So to me, I'd rather go out there with Harden and just see what he has left next year, give him a chance to get better and, get into shape this summer. And if
Yeah.
he doesn't, he just doesn't. Then we figure it out next season. But I wouldn't go. I don't know if I'd give him the super max, but I think I would definitely bring him back next season because I
You know
don't
what
see
I
them
think?
picking anybody else up. What?
I think Harden is I think Harden will take a pay cut.
I think he will too.
I think he's gonna take a pay cut, and then we're gonna see the same thing next year. It was kind of weird, by the way, that he just kind of threw Doc under the bus.
Yeah, he did.
That was so like it didn't really look like he quit because of Doc.
Right.
I never really saw the entire series. I didn't see them like disagreeing or having issues. And
Yeah, me
Doc
either.
is a guy, if he has issues with somebody on his own team, you know it.
Right. Yeah.
But I didn't really
Because he
see
said it
anything.
directly last season.
Right. And all of a sudden, no comment.
Right.
By the way, him saying the ball didn't find me, one of the weakest excuses I've ever heard a
Harden
person
said that?
said. Yeah. He said when they asked him, like, James, obviously, if any human being who just watched the game would have been like, yo, how did you only take 2 shots in the second half? The ball didn't find me. I moved the ball didn't find me.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever, Harden. Okay, moving on.
These are the 2 series we got to spend a lot of time breaking down.
Let's go. Let's stay in the East. Let's finish the best for last.
Yes.
Okay. Boston and Milwaukee.
Great series.
Fantastic series. I don't remember who we picked. I feel like we both picked.
I picked
Boston.
Milwaukee in 7. Or did I pick Boston in 7? I might have picked Boston in 7.
I feel like we both picked Boston, but I don't remember. So
I know I
everyone
definitely
listening,
picked 7.
everyone listening, disregard whatever we said last time because we don't remember. But I definitely wanted Boston to win.
I remember riding the Boston high of dominating Brooklyn coming into the series.
Yeah. Yep. So here we are. Milwaukee. How would you describe what happened in Milwaukee?
Disappointing.
You think it was trash?
No, I mean it was. Yeah, I mean like they got dominated in the second half.
Yeah.
But they just like nobody can make a fucking shot all game.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of their issues from that game 7 were things that had been problems for them.
Yeah.
And I think game 7 was really the first time I'm looking at them struggling, and they struggled against Chicago a little bit in this series at other points. But game 7 was the first time I'm like, damn, Middleton needs to be out there.
Right. And this game, believe it or not, I think this was the game I think I noticed like the Celtics strapping them the least. Like the other few games, even the game they won, I felt like the Celtics defense was really, really good the entire game. This game, I really didn't notice the Celtics defense that much. I just noticed Milwaukee missing shots. Everybody.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday was forcing,
All
and
day.
even though his stats looked good at the end of the game,
He
I
played
think he
awful.
played. Yeah, he played really, really bad. Greek Freak was missing finger rolls, missing Euro steps. Like he missed like the right hand on the left side Euro like 3 times in this game, and he can just dunk that. For some reason, he decided to go with the
Yeah.
finger roll and miss all of them. So I don't know what else you can ask them to do if they're just missing that kind of stuff. I think Drew Holiday was missing a lot of easy shots too. And then the role players just most of them just didn't show up. You mentioned Bobby Portis lost composure really early. Grayson Allen was
Non-existent.
non-existent.
Didn't even need to dress.
I didn't know Pat Connaughton was playing. I didn't realize he was out there for a while. So, yeah, man, they just folded to me. This was just a fold by Milwaukee. I think Boston played fantastic. Obviously, they set records. Grant Williams set a record. He got his career high. Most threes ever made in a game 7. Most threes ever taken in a game 7. Most threes ever taken in a game 7 in the third quarter. He had the record for that at the third quarter. He was 7 for 15, and the record was 7 for 15 by Steph Curry. So Grant Williams broke the 3-point record on them. And this is what I said. I've been saying this about Boston for, I want to say 4 straight years. Boston, if you let Boston be spectacular, you can't beat them. But they may only be able to beat you being spectacular. And that's the thing. If you let Grant Williams get 15 threes off, you're going to lose to Boston. And that might be the only way Boston was going to beat them in this game is with Grant Williams shooting like Steph Curry. So,
dude, with Boston, it's really tough. Like Boston could easily lose to Miami this next round, and yet they could easily be the next NBA champion.
Yeah.
Like their highs and lows are so dynamic. And like Boston's roster is complete to me. I know you're still on the whole thing that they need a point guard. Well, they need to just commit to like moving the ball. I saw it all year when they moved the ball, even when they didn't have good games, the quality of shots is there.
The only reason why I don't say they're complete is because you get almost nothing from so many of the guys off the bench. Peyton Pritchard has played fantastic. Oh, listen to me.
Okay, I'm here.
Peyton Pritchard has played fantastic, but Tice didn't even play in the last game. They didn't need him at all. Derek White has just been a roster filler this entire series, just to give guys a blow. They throw Derek White in there. They're starting 6. I've been saying this for years. They have the best starting 6 in basketball. They've had it since Kyrie was there. And maybe they had it the year before Kyrie was there. They're starting 6. There hasn't been a better starting 6 in basketball for the last 5 years. But that's it. The rest of the team might as well not even dress out sometimes.
I look at their roster differently, and we for some reason just
did you see how bad Derek White was this series?
Offensively, yes.
He was bad all around.
No. He's a capable defender. He did a good job on Giannis a couple times. Look,
yeah, but he was leaving Grayson Allen wide open. You can stop Giannis, but you can't stop Grayson Allen from hitting open threes.
Dude, White, I'll give you White. You're right. He had a very bad series.
Tice had a good series.
Bro, Tice barely played.
That's my point.
Tice comes in there. He gets stops. He gets rebounds. He gets fouls called on him, of course.
And misses every open jump shot.
Bro, but it's not like he's getting 8 of them and going 0 for 8. He's getting like 3 shots. He doesn't make any of them. And you're like, yo, he's fucking ass out there. Like, what do you expect?
When you say a roster is complete, is Tyson and Derek White, are they on that roster?
Yes. 100%. First of all, your top 10 can't have all guys that are great. We know that.
Miami does.
Miami's different. Miami's the deepest fucking team in the league by
Memphis
far.
does.
No, they do not.
They don't have 10 good players?
They have 10 good players, but not 10 players who can have a significant impact every night.
They had a significant impact in this series. I can't say every night. In this
Bro,
series,
Boston
Tyus
has
Jones,
everything you need. Their starting 6 is impeccable. They could go toe-to-toe with anybody.
Been that way. It's been that way for years.
Bro, Al Horford, Grant Williams.
They're in the starting 6.
They're in the starting Robert Williams.
What is that? That's 3?
Yeah.
Then Brown, Tatum, and Smart. That's 6. Who else is there? What do you mean? That's the 6.
Okay, but then you got guys who contribute off the bench. Pritchard has had a good 2 rounds.
Yes. Pritchard's played good all the season.
All season. You're sleeping on him. All he does is go out there and get buckets.
He does, absolutely.
I'm not saying they can't upgrade any. Like, obviously, every team can upgrade something. But Boston is showing that they're not missing anything.
Okay. I'm not gonna argue with that.
Like, yeah, Derek White can make shots, but they can win games with him being a trash can because they're a good team.
Listen, Sacramento wins games. Houston wins games. That doesn't mean they're a good team. Anyone can win games.
Boston wins playoff games.
Listen, like I said, if you set an NBA record in the playoff game, I expect you to beat everybody. If Grant Williams sets an all-time 3-point Game 7 record, they shouldn't lose to
one guy.
95 Bulls.
One guy.
No, but it's who it is. If Tatum set a playoff Game 7 record, it wouldn't be a big deal. But the fact that Grant Williams is doing it, and I already know Tatum is getting 30. Grant Williams, think about that. If you already know Tatum and Brown are getting their average, and Grant Williams sets the 3-point record, that's the automatic 30 from Grant Williams. That's 24. It has to be. Think about it.
No, I get it. I just think that Williams showing that he can make open shots is now more reliably keeping the space open.
It is.
It's not like, I know the record was a shock, but he shot the ball well most of the series.
Mm-hmm.
He shot the ball well all year.
But he set his career high in this game.
My point.
That's all I'm saying. He could shoot good, but setting a career high.
That was a outlier to his norm. I'm with that.
It was.
But my point is, Boston just showed, despite of what you think of them, they walked into a series with Milwaukee. Peyton Pritchard was a dynamic role player. Grant Williams was a dynamic role player. Al Horford was a dynamic role player. That's 3.
Al Horford played fantastic.
Yeah.
Al Horford was the best big man in the playoffs in the series.
Yeah, you're probably right. But again, to me, I trust those 3 names to be capable of that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Grant Williams is not going to need to hit the record. But if Miami decides to play defense like Milwaukee just did, then he's going to get a lot of shots. And a year ago, I would have been holding my head like, oh, no, like you have a problem on your hands.
Yeah.
Now I'm confident that Brown is moving the ball for a good reason. I'm confident when Tatum moves the ball it's for a good reason. That was not the case before.
Well, why do you think Miami can beat them?
I think Jimmy Butler's more self-aware
And
than Brown
Tatum
and
and Brown.
Tatum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this
Jimmy,
series is a toss-up to me, but I trust Miami's play style a little bit more.
Jimmy amazes me with the lack of exertion he has to give to
be the best player on the
single-handedly,
floor.
beat teams by himself, basically. So
Another reason Doc sucked, by the way. He allowed Jimmy Butler to beat them by himself without even working hard.
that was the game plan. That's the part that blows my mind. As long as Jimmy Butler is scoring, we can beat them. That's like the weirdest logic I've ever heard in my entire life.
I just
as long
can't
as the
fathom.
best player gets
when have
50,
you ever thought of a best player that way? Like, who has ever approached defending a best player by saying we want them to shoot instead of pass?
I've never heard that before in my life.
That's not even doesn't even make sense.
Never in my life. Never. And I mean, he's by far the best scorer. He was the best scorer on either team in this series. So it's like, I just don't get it. As long as he's not passing, why would you want him shooting over Gabe Vincent? Hope he doesn't pass.
Or even like Harden. Harden is a guy like he couldn't guard, and he just kept leaving him on him.
Right.
Like you're asking Miami to get easy baskets.
Yeah.
No, but to this Boston point, maybe they're not flawless, but in my opinion, they're complete enough to win the East.
I agree.
There's no more like they got to go to the offseason and do this. The coaching change was made. It was exactly what they needed. The team is ready. Like it's up to their dynamic duo to see what works and what doesn't. And they're still struggling to figure it out, I think.
I completely agree. But I've also felt that way for 5 seasons. That's the only thing. I've felt that they were good enough to win the East since Isaiah Thomas was there. I felt that way every year. And they let me down every single year. And guess what has never changed? They haven't had a good point guard any of those years. The one time they had a good point guard, he's 2 inches taller than me. So
we'll see. We'll see how it hurts them moving forward. But I think they're beyond the point of like they've shown they can play together well enough to not need a point guard to me.
I agree. I agree with that. Because the other thing is, if they got a point guard, then someone else doesn't play, right? And it would probably be Derek White based on how he's playing. So you lose something. If you get something, you have to lose something. So I'm not saying that them getting a point guard makes them automatically better because it may make them worse. But I think that, like you said, they would have less flaws. I'd feel more confident for them in this game. But I mean, in the series.
Yeah.
But make your prediction. What you got? Miami or Boston? In how many games? Or do you not want to? I understand if you don't want to.
Miami in 7.
Miami in 7?
It's going to be a tough one.
I don't think it's going to 7. I'm going to go Miami and I'll go Miami in 6.
Okay.
I think Boston wins both.
And obviously, we'll have a lot to talk about the first couple games. I'm very curious how it looks because, I mean, we're making predictions, but to me, the way Boston has played, it's impossible to predict what they're going to look like.
I want Boston. I want Boston in 6, but I think Miami is better, and I think they'll win. But I genuinely want Boston in 6, and I genuinely want a Boston Warriors finals. That's my agenda for any future
Miami
reference.
To get another crack at it. Miami needs another crack after the bubble run.
I'm sick of seeing Miami in the finals. I'm done with it.
Hey, that's
the bubble one was so disgusting to me. The bubble one made me so disgusted. I never want to see it again. The guys quit a new player quit every single game that series. Oh, Jimmy doesn't want to play this game. Bam doesn't want to play the next game. Who else do they have? Who was the point guard then?
Dragic, I think.
Yeah, Dragic got hurt one game. He came back. He looked great. Then he couldn't finish the next game. It was just, I'm like, this sucks, man. I don't even want you guys to make the finals if you're gonna do that.
Hey, and Miami figured all that out. Now, when Lowry's not right, Gabe, Vincent, you got it.
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah.
Struce, you got it.
Miami has like 12 good players.
That shit is
12
sick,
out of
dude.
13. And they all play great.
I don't know where they find guys, but they look somewhere where nobody else does, or they develop in a way that nobody else does.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Last series.
24 hours has gone by, and I thought I would have a more concise, like detailed perspective on what I saw, but I don't. So feel free to start off. What did you think?
You ever say something about somebody knowing it's controversial, but you, in your heart, you really want to be wrong, but you know you're right? So it's cool that you were right, but you're actually disappointed that it wasn't even a debate.
Yep.
That's how I felt about Booker and CP in this game. We talked just a week ago, talked about the best scorers in the league. What we say, top 7?
Yeah. And I put him above you because I gave him more props than Donovan, which, you know, in hindsight, I'm not sure why.
He wasn't in my 7, but I mentioned this again off air. This just happens because we don't record every day. Like, we're not, we don't work for ESPN, obviously. So my issue all season with the Suns, I mentioned this a couple podcasts ago, was that they didn't have to make adjustments the whole season. They just played the same way every single night, regardless of who was playing or not. Same game plan every night. Like, Monty didn't even drop a new game plan.
Tested all year.
Weren't tested all year. I heard a stat from JJ Redick today. They were like top 5 in mid-range points, bottom 5 in three-pointers, layups, and free throw attempts. Bottom 5 in the league, and had the best record in the league at one point. So you get to the playoffs.
It goes back to my point of shot selection.
Shot selection was disgusting. But worst of all, in this particular game 7, they just didn't take any shots. They said, you know what? We're going to fix our shot selection by CP and Booker only taking 11 shots in the first half. 11. And Booker didn't make any of them. I think CP had made 1.
I think you're too far ahead. I think
you want to start with the beginning of this game?
Yeah.
The first quarter?
The first, 4 or 5 possessions?
Oh, actually, let me start earlier in the season, in this series, when Booker and CP were mocking Doncic and joking about him, and ask questions about Doncic, and they act like he's chopped liver, act like he's a scrub,
trying to bully Brunson once upon a time.
Yep.
Disregarding Spencer Dinwiddie once upon a time.
Yep. So surprise, fellas.
I can't. There's no explanation for a game 7 from the best team in the fucking league, regardless of why. Mid-range 3. I don't give a shit why they're the best team in the league. They got to a game 7 again, regardless of how they got there, and nobody in Phoenix uniforms showed up to the game
at all.
I mean, Ayton quit 3 plays into the game.
Yeah. And Monty benched them basically for the rest of the game.
And to be honest with you, this is where And I didn't text you the entire first quarter because I couldn't fathom that Phoenix would be this stupid for the entirety of the game, and it
Yeah,
somehow was worse. You come out, Monty, you haven't been able to stop Luka for 6 games now.
right.
You just lost a finals. You're really motivated because you just lost a finals because you
Yeah,
wouldn't stop a guy like you're supposed to.
right.
So game 7, we decide to guard pick and rolls, which, by the way, we talked about this, is Dallas's only offense.
Yes.
Either Doncic, Brunson, Dinwiddie, ISO, or they run a pick and roll. There's nothing else.
Yeah. Usually a flat screen at the top of the key,
Right.
and the guards just go head down straight to the basket.
For some reason, game 7, the pick and roll game plan, again, the most important aspect of your defense, because it's all they run, is for the Luka defenders to fight over screens.
Yes.
I mean, is it really a good idea to ask your defenders to work harder to stop one of the highest IQ scorers ever? No trap, no double, no
Nope.
trying to ice him to go a specific way. He's coming off of the fucking pick, and Bridges is obviously, he can't recover because Luka, again, is a Hall of Fame IQ player. He knows how to execute a pick and roll.
Yep.
He got the 8 and switch the first 5 plays.
And I believe that's why Ayton was upset in this game, because he's like, why do I keep having to guard Luka?
100%. And obviously it's unacceptable that he just quit and fucking sulked. Obviously that's unacceptable. But
Yes.
I'm thinking the whole first quarter, I'm like, bro, they almost put Ayton out there to look bad on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, they
disgusting.
haven't played him real starter minutes all year, by the way. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to throw him out there to get stops, as the game is out of control.
Yep.
That, to me, that just set a whole precedent of the team is confused the whole first half. The team can't comprehend that Dallas is matching and exceeding their energy the whole first half. In Phoenix, not on a neutral ground. We're not talking about the fucking March Madness tournament. Game 7 in your building.
I don't know this, but this has to be the worst home beatdown
It
ever in a game 7.
By a team that, like we talked about, dominated the year.
It just shows you that they have been overrated the entire year. This whole playoffs, not just this series, because obviously one game doesn't show anything. But this whole playoffs, they almost lost to the Pelicans, dude. They were one game away from possibly losing to the Pelicans. And the Pelicans would be in this situation. And then now, Monty Williams, listen, man, I know Monty Williams has been through a lot. Good dude, been around the league, coached under some of the greatest coaches, had some good opportunities. Dude, you can't just be the nicest guy in the locker room and that be your strategy for the games. And that be your strategy, your team structure. Hey, I really care about these guys. They really wanted to win this, so I really just felt sorry for them. Like, we asked you why you lost this game. What'd you say to these guys? Oh, I just told them, man, I know you guys wanted this bad from last year. Dude, can you tell us why you guys just got exposed by 40? Can you tell us why you couldn't guard the pick and rolls? Can you tell us why you actually they weren't even pick and rolls sometimes. The dude would just come up and flash, and then they would switch.
It's slip it. He's slipping it just to get out the way.
It makes me think this Phoenix team is the most overrated team that has ever existed. And I'll tell you, the only reason I say that is because every player on this team was up for an award, basically. Cam Johnson was up for Sixth Man of the Year. Mikal Bridges was up for Defensive Player of the Year. They both got exposed in this game, in this series. Booker was up for MVP. He got MVP votes. He didn't even.
I forgot he was even there at one point.
He didn't even take more than 7 shots in the first half. He wasn't even on track to get 20 shots in this game. CP only had 2 assists until the fourth quarter, until garbage minutes, where he just started getting assists for some reason. Like, yo, my numbers suck. We're down 40. Let me make some good passes. What were they doing? I don't understand.
You know
I don't
what's
even know why.
interesting?
What?
What's interesting to me is we watched the game 7 before, and I
Yeah.
thought Budenholzer made a mistake where he said, we're going to really commit to containing Jalen and Jason's drives. But because we're really committing to that, Grant Williams is free to shoot them all day.
Yeah.
And Grant Williams killed them. But
Yep.
that's a gamble. I understand taking that risk, especially not being able to stop the 2 stars.
Yeah, but after he's already beat the record in the third quarter, like you got to make a change.
Yeah,
going
at that,
into the fourth quarter.
They didn't change the defensive game plan, which again was Budenholzer's mistake. But
I'm with you. I understand. If you're thinking I'm gonna let Grant Williams beat us, not Jason or Jalen, I understand.
I'm with you 1,000%.
Yeah,
bro. Like I'm assuming they didn't watch Utah. Like, bro, all you have to do to Dallas
at least
is
Utah
not
tried.
disrespect them. Yeah, Utah
At least
did
Utah
try.
tried.
Yeah. Up until the very end, thank God.
Yeah.
But like, you can't disrespect a team that puts 5 shooters on the fucking court.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting there again watching the game in the first quarter, and it didn't get like disgustingly bad until mid-second quarter.
Yeah.
But you, even with your initial text, like, you know, this game has an interesting start. It's kind of odd how only one team has energy and the other team is just confused about everything.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You've gotten blown out 3 times in the last 4 games coming into this game.
Yep.
We're really going to fight over screens. We're not going to do anything else but fight over screens.
Right.
I don't know what they expected. Obviously, if they shot it better, they maybe can make it a game. But Dallas would probably have blown them out regardless, considering, again, Finney Smith hasn't missed the entire playoffs. Guys are still leaving him wide fucking open.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, Bullock somehow became an elite defender as this series went on. CP Book, how does that happen?
Who won game 6?
Dallas.
Booker didn't make a 3 in the second half of game 6.
Nope.
Nobody shot well in game 6.
I can't even talk about Phoenix's backcourt. I mean, honestly, bro, CP going out there in the fourth quarter and padding his fucking stats.
Yeah.
It made me gross. Like, I seriously never want to, I don't want to talk about him the rest of the summer after that shit.
Yeah, that was nasty.
At least Harden quit and like legitimately quit. He didn't try to fake like he was actually playing when it was a fucking blowout.
Yeah.
I mean, CP, bro, forget Pat Bev calling you a cone, because you know what cones don't do? They don't reach. CP, we're not going to stay in front of anybody. We're just going to fucking reach. I mean, like game 7, CP, really? That's not game 1, not like a home game when we're up 3-1.
Yeah.
Game 7, we're going to reach for everything.
And pad stats. And the other thing is, Monty Williams, this is back to him real quick. Most coaches, when they know that a switch is coming, they put the better defender on the guy that'll get switched. But Monty did the opposite. Like, I like Cam Johnson, and he's not a bad defender. But for him to be the switch guy to get switched on to Luka was a disaster. It was a disaster from the beginning of the game. I don't remember a possession of Crowder guarding Luka in this entire game. Do you?
Mm-mm.
So, and is there a doubt that he's their first or second best defender? Maybe. I saw Bridges get exposed a few times. So at that point, we're like, Crowder, can you try guarding him for a second? Why don't you get on this guy who's going to switch?
They really left
adjustments.
They left Luka on an island the entire series.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of a dumber way to guard him. I think the
They
Clippers would have got sent home 2 years in a row if they did that the whole time.
made Luka look a lot better than he is in this series, in my opinion. Luka's
I
really,
think
really good, but he's not like, I mean, I guess he is beat your team by himself good, but he's not beat a contender by himself good like they made him seem in this series.
I agree. I completely agree. But when you allow him to like dictate who guards him,
Right.
like, I mean, LeBron dominated the East doing that.
Everybody can
Like, bro,
dominate
on the
doing
other
that.
CP, you know what that looks like.
Yeah, because he loves that.
That's your game.
Yeah.
I was just like Booker. I could give Booker some excuse because he has an opportunity to redeem himself. You know, he could have a whole redemption of him focusing and playing the right way. CP, I hate that I'm gonna remember you like this.
I don't think Booker can redeem himself because I think that, I mean, Booker can redeem himself for not playing good, but I think Booker now has, the he's not that guy thing. I think that's stamped on him. It's tattooed on him now. I don't think that's ever going to change.
And he
I
needs
think
it.
this series made it official. He does, and I mentioned this, and this was kind of an aside from our scorers conversation, but at no point in the season did I feel like Booker had a weight on his shoulders to win games for this team. I think he was just a really good. I mean, he's not a role player, but he played like he was just a really good role player. He hit shots and he played within the system. Cool. But when they lost games, I never felt like, man, Booker tried to put the team on his back and he just didn't give enough. I never felt, even when they won games, I never felt like, oh, Booker had to take over and if it was him or nobody else. I've seen games where he just shot good, but I don't see the heroics that I see out of a go-to scorer out of an MVP candidate. I
And
saw it
there's
out of
no
DeRozan.
excuse. There's no excuse for that because we look at Boston, a team who's essentially complete. Tatum
Yes.
doesn't have to do heroics for them to be a great team.
No, he doesn't.
Tatum has seen the details it takes for the team to take the next step. And
Yeah.
him and Brown are making the effort.
Yeah.
I haven't
But we
seen that
see
from Booker yet.
but we see when he needs to do heroics, we see it happen. When the signal goes in the sky, we see Tatum do his thing. I don't see that out of Booker. The
No.
signal was in the sky this whole series.
And he just played off the team the whole time.
Exactly. And he did that for a lot of this season. But it's easier when, you got to take over against the Rockets than it is when you have to take over against a playoff team. But we see other guys, the Donovans, the Lukas, the Tatums, the Jimmy Butlers, everybody on the Warriors. I mean, the big three on the Warriors, when it's time to go off, flip the switch and like, yo, we're going to win or lose by what I do in this game. We see it happen. But Booker isn't the we win or lose through me kind of guy.
No.
And you can't have that as your best player. That is definitely not your best scorer.
I'm not as disappointed in him because I always kind of looked at him as like a pure scorer. I never gave him the credit of
go-to guy.
Being the complete player, being the leader. I never really looked at him like that.
Yeah. I guess the thing is when you yourself are wondering why you're not an MVP, then I look at you like that. Because all the MVPs are like that.
The MVP thing did fuck him up for sure. And not like it fucked up because he tried to put it like how he's a complete player, which he's not. And
right. And he got votes. Some people did think he was MVP.
I think he was fourth.
Yeah, just because he was the best shooter or best scorer on the best team, that doesn't mean the MVP.
Yeah.
Right. Because the thing is, he didn't show his value to me on the team. He just showed me he can score. I didn't feel like he was the most valuable player on the team. I'd put Ayton and I'd put Bridges over him as most valuable player on this team this season. They could have got a lot of guys to come in there and average 20.
I'm trying to be glass half full, and I picture the idea that this will drive those guys to be better. And
I
maybe,
don't see it.
and in my opinion, Phoenix is, I'm not sure if I've ever seen somebody close their contending window that quick. I mean, they
Yes.
closed it, locked it, and
They-
threw the fucking key away in the ocean.
Yeah. They like
But
pulled the curtains close.
but this was so bad that, I mean, at this point, next year is about respect. It doesn't even matter if you're like a 7th seed. You have to earn the respect of the league now.
They're in the same spot as the Jazz right now.
100%, bro. And that just speaks volumes to how awful this game was.
The top 3 seeds in the West are all out. Top 3 records in the West are gone.
Golden
At least
State
for
was
most
4th?
of the season. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is the first time ever the first 2 seeds did not make the West. Neither of the first 2 seeds made the Western Conference Finals.
I honestly, bro, I was close to tearing up when I saw the CP has blown 5-2-0 leads.
Yeah.
Like that is a stat that's nobody will forget that.
Yeah.
Especially
That's
without
bad.
a title, bro. Especially without a title. And
it would have been cool if he kept it with Doc. If like he kept all of them being with like, because then he could have said, well, that's Doc. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, yeah, he doesn't have that luxury.
Yeah.
You know what else I hated during the game? Second quarter, it's starting to really sink in to the players on the court of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And CP's like trying to fucking rile guys up by bringing them to the free throw line over and over again.
Yeah.
And they looked more and more dead coming out of each huddle. Like, CP, if you're not going to shoot the ball, shut the fuck up. Him bringing the fucking team together and then proceeding to let Devin Booker attempt a pathetic version of his job. Like, CP, it's a shameful.
CP has been the dude who has put the team on his back before. He did it in this playoffs.
Did it a round ago, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe I mentioned it coming out of that series. Like, man, don't forget that CP just loses composure randomly. 5 games of disgusting IQ. I mean, bro, the last 5 games, he averaged 4 turnovers a game.
Yep.
Against Dallas.
Since his birthday.
Bro, Dallas doesn't even fucking defend. Dallas just matches up, and Jason Kidd tells them, go to work.
Yep.
And Dallas literally beat them playing pickup basketball.
Basically.
And they look like a more well-rounded team while playing pickup basketball.
The thing that kind of sucks to me is, and if Dallas wins, this will surprise me. And you're right, Golden State was third, so it's just the top 2 seeds. If Dallas wins, it will surprise me. But I think Dallas has 0 chance of winning the finals. They can't beat either team in the East.
I can see why you'd say that.
I would be shocked. I'm not saying that it won't happen because they are playing fantastic, but I just don't see. It would be the biggest upset in history if they beat either of the East teams. I think they can beat the Warriors, but the East teams
Warriors are a little bit more limited as a roster. That's the key to me is your roster has to be complete defensively.
And both the East teams are.
Both of them are. So in that way, I agree. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But I told you, man, Dallas opened this play style of nobody turning down a shot.
Yeah.
And they're going to ride or die with it. And I love it.
The thing is, if they're not ready to play defense to how they play, the Warriors will beat them at that game every time. If you let the Warriors get as many shots off as you get, they have to be shooting really bad to lose in that game.
I don't know, man. You know how the Warriors get with turnovers. I'm not as confident in the Warriors as you are.
They might turn the ball over.
I just think
they're
Dallas
gonna
is
turn the
shooting.
ball over. That's gonna happen.
It's not that I expected them to cool off at some point. It's that Dallas has continued to get really good shots.
Yeah, they have.
Like Dallas has continued to feed the mismatches. And now, like Dinwiddie had mostly an awful series.
Yeah.
And in game 7, he's playing like from the jump, he's playing like their second best player.
Yes. Yep.
That's tough to stop, man.
Who is Brunson going to guard on Golden State?
Probably. I'll probably throw him on Wiggins, to be honest.
Oh, my God. Wiggins in the post all game.
I don't know, man. This is going to be a very high-powered offensive series.
Yeah.
I just like Dallas does that thing of we're going to play very safe to keep shooting it. They're not turnover prone. So the Warriors are not going to have such an easy time playing up and down because, you know, Memphis beyond the turnovers took a lot of bad shots.
I will say this, and this is one thing about Dallas that this happens to every team, but their lulls of not scoring are like they're more defined than I think a lot of other teams.
Not more Boston?
But Boston plays better defense, so they can get stops. Like get stops and get fast breaks and stuff.
That's true.
Dallas doesn't get a lot of fast breaks. Not a lot.
No, they don't.
And the thing is, if you're not scoring a lot, and the Warriors ever are, it's tough to beat them. And even in this last game, they should have won this game by 70. But the fact that they didn't was because in the third quarter, they went on a lull of not scoring for a long time. And then even in the fourth quarter, when they still had starters out there or still had, good players out there early, they went on a long time without scoring. And Phoenix was already, dead at that point.
Yeah.
So, but obviously the first 2 quarters they went on the second quarter they went nonstop scoring, so that could happen too. But
bro,
it's tough to beat the Warriors if you do that.
I just have seen Dallas hit so many timely shots.
Yeah, they got a lot of momentum players.
Yeah, bro, like Finney Smith, almost every shot he makes is momentum. I mean, maybe it's more of a discredit to how trash CP and Booker were, but I've never seen Reggie Bullock play defense that good. Never, bro.
Yeah.
Picking up full court. He's moving his feet with multiple dribble moves.
Well, Tilly Keenan stripped CP last game. Like that happened.
Last game, I'll give him a pass, but bro, Bullock was doing a good job in game 4 and 5.
Yeah, he played good.
I was just shocked. I was shocked because I'd never even seen him like really make a concerted effort to get stops or be a good defender. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the other teams he played on, but every time I think these Dallas guys are limited, all of a sudden another lob, another tough three, another drive that I didn't think they could do. You just can't disrespect these guys.
2 last points. Number 1, Jason Kidd. The reason why I've always loved Jason Kidd as a coach, because he's creative and he'll just try something. And I always respect that out of coaches because so many guys like Budenholzer, Monty Williams, think that there's like a structure where let's just stay in these limits. But Jason Kidd is a dude who, look, go for it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens, because you don't know what happens until it happens.
Right.
So I think Jason Kidd may be able to outcoach. I shouldn't say outcoach, but he may be able to coach his way into beating the Warriors. Just with being creative. I don't, like you said, maybe he puts Brunson on Wiggins and he has Finney Smith on Steph for height, or who knows what he'll do, but he may try something like that. But the Warriors are like a complete opposite to both the teams that the Mavericks have played so far, and the Mavs had to go, pretty deep into both series.
I don't think
Phoenix,
the Mavericks could blow out anybody, regardless of what road they would have had. 5
yeah,
or 6 games minimum with every team.
yeah, because it was really good teams. But the thing is, who are we talking about? Phoenix was second to last in layups and threes in the playoffs this year. Golden State is the best layup and threes team of all times. Phoenix was last in free throw attempts. Golden State has the 2 best free throw shooters in the league. It's just a big difference. Jazz have a center who can't play any defense. Warriors have Draymond Green, who's a defensive player of the year candidate every year. So it's going to be a big, big, big difference. That's all. So there's really no super mismatch off a switch for Luka against the Warriors. I mean,
Yeah.
Steph
And they were saying that fucking Mikal Bridges was the runner-up as a defensive player of the year.
I never saw it.
I saw it. Especially against fucking the Pelicans. What was it, game 4?
Yeah.
The one game where he went off, he looked crazy on both ends.
Who was he guarding?
I don't remember.
Ingram?
It was Ingram, I'm pretty sure. Ingram or McCollum.
Yeah.
I remember him getting stops on McCollum, actually.
Yeah. I mean, he's long, he's quick, quick-witted, he's fast twitch, but
I will say, see, this is exactly where the other 2 teams have fallen in trouble. Is they think, well, Draymond could guard Luka. Clay could guard Luka.
well,
You cannot.
I didn't say that.
You
No one can
cannot
guard
let
Luka.
Luka be on an island the whole series.
Nobody can guard Luka. But the thing is, there's no bad switches on the Warriors. That's all I'm saying. There's no bad switches. Looney's a bad switch.
Everybody but the 2 guys I named are a bad switch to me.
Wiggins is a bad switch?
Absolutely. He's not strong enough. What do you mean? I'm not sure if Clay is strong enough.
Strong enough?
Yes.
Andrew Wiggins?
Yes.
All right. We'll see.
All right, we will see. I think you're underestimating how physical Luka is attacking the rim.
No, he was straight up bodying Cam Johnson yesterday.
And I know it won't be as easy as Johnson and Bridges were, because I know compared to Wiggins, they're like paperweight.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be that much harder.
That was Bridges. He did that spin off.
Yeah.
He had to make like an awkward layup.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Bridges
took him deep in the post.
I feel bad. Bridges and Johnson were bouncing off of him like literally the whole series.
They were, yeah.
Again, I feel like Monty Williams set them up to look bad.
Yeah, he did. But I told you, man.
You made an interesting point about who was the coaches you named, Monty and Budenholzer, and I would throw Doc in there too.
Yeah,
all really experienced coaches who thought they could kind of manage the team more than trust them.
Right.
And all 3 of them are home now versus a first-year coach in Boston and a first-year coach in Dallas. Again, kid's been a coach, but first-year coach on this team.
Yeah.
And they're in the conference finals, to me, for no single reason bigger than they trusted the roster.
I agree.
And especially in Dallas, like Boston, maybe he could have done more things. But with a team like Dallas, like you're obviously not as good top to bottom as Phoenix. You got to have that, like, fuck it, let's try it.
And I think Udoka gets the most out of the roster because, I mean, I've seen enough of Neesmith, and Luke Cornett has been in the league for long enough. I don't know how he still gets paid. Is Nick Stauskas there?
Yeah.
I like Nick Stauskas, but he's not ready either.
No.
Sauce Castillo, my guy. Yeah. No, so I think Udoka did everything with the roster he could have done.
Yeah,
But
I think some
you're
of those
right.
guys stepped up. But again, like it's having the faith in Horford to put him on Giannis for the whole series.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for Monty to do the same thing, it's one thing to do that with Al Horford, who's a vet, who's a high-level player. You're doing it with a guy who doesn't even match up well with him,
Right.
with Bridges. Again,
Yeah.
who I just he was put in a terrible spot.
Yeah, and at halftime, CP only had 4 shots. It's just bizarre to keep him out there. You got Aaron Holiday, you got Campaign. Both guys are just bloodthirsty, hungry guys that come in and give you everything they have every single game on the offensive end. And they attack. Campaign came in there and went straight to the rack like 3 times in a row. It was amazing. I mean, he just made something happen as soon as he came into the game. Meanwhile, he took more shots than CP in 30 seconds than CP did the whole first half.
Yeah, man. This is such a stain that CP. I don't know if I want him to retire or I just want him to not speak next year. But
One or the other.
this was just, yeah, bro.
So they face the issue now because Ayton, whatever happened with Ayton in this last game, he's the only free agent they have. So, I mean, him and JaVale McGee, I believe. So you lose Ayton. If Ayton goes to any team in the West, it's over for Phoenix. It's over. I don't care who they get. I mean, they're not getting Embiid. They're not getting Jokic. It doesn't matter who else they get to me because they'll be at a disadvantage for the rest of the, to the rest of the West.
Yeah. If he goes to the Clippers or if he goes to the Warriors, I might not watch the conference.
Because it's a wrap?
It's a fucking wrap. Maybe not. Maybe I'll still watch because the Clippers are not healthy and kind of random. But if he goes to the Warriors, I'm seriously not watching their games.
If he goes to Dallas, it's a wrap.
Dallas is not quite as like elite to add a guy like that and be so unstoppable to me.
Maybe.
But Golden State is you can't add a really high level center to a well-oiled machine. It's just unfair, I think.
Yeah, that would be a disaster. Disaster for the rest of the West. So I guess we'll see. So what's your prediction in this one? It's still as much as everything I said about Dallas, it's still up in the air. Dallas very well could win this series. I only said that I don't think they can beat the East teams. I do think they can beat the Warriors. I
don't want to make a prediction on this one.
No, you don't want to be upset when it doesn't happen.
I mean, it's a good chance it won't happen. I'm not even going to bother. I think this series will be very up and down.
I'll go Warriors in 6.
Okay.
Warriors in 6. 2 games.
I'll say Warriors in 7 just to have some prediction there.
Gotcha.
Because even though I've been very confident in Dallas, I think, again, Golden State has the switch. Golden State has the fortitude, the self-awareness, and they have the one coach I didn't mention who knows how to balance the line.
Yeah.
Who's probably one of his best traits is knowing when to trust his guys and knowing when to reel them back.
And he's back. He'll be back for this game.
Right.
First game. If you say 7 games, that means you acknowledge it's a toss-up. If you say 6, it means you're a little more confident in one team than the other.
Yeah.
If you say 5, you're really confident in one team, and if you say 4, you say it's a wrap.
Right.
So I'm a little more confident in the Warriors, but I know it's very close to being a toss-up. And honestly, it's only because of how the Warriors have been playing. Like if we hadn't seen anything else and I just woke up from a coma today and you said the Warriors about to play the Mavericks in a series, I'd say Warriors in 5. But because I've seen
I
them
thought
play,
they had a lot of pressure on that game 6 after being so trash.
Yeah,
And they didn't show any of it at all.
they didn't.
It looked fucking as easy as it always does.
Right. Right. Okay. What else? Do we have anything else to mention today?
Did we talk about Sacramento coaching hire?
I think no, I don't think so.
I don't think we did.
Mike Brown has had the worst coaching performance in two
Snuck in there.
games than anyone else did in a full season that I've ever seen. It was horrible, man. Worst blowout in history of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Sacramento was down to him or Mark Jackson, and the owner of the team actually preferred Mark Jackson. But the GM and president of basketball associations preferred Mike Brown.
That right there is why they're trash.
The owner of the team actually owned the Warriors when Mark Jackson drafted Steph. Like he was there at that time when Mark Jackson was there.
Makes sense.
So he wanted Mark Jackson back because he loved Mark Jackson. He thought Mark Jackson did a great job, which he did. And
this is like I can't think of a better job for.
I know.
Mark Jackson was built for rosters like this.
Yeah.
I really
was did he coach Harrison Barnes? Or
yeah.
I think he did 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they get Kerr 14 or 15? 14, I think.
I think Kerr.
Or did he get their first title run?
I think he did. Yeah. I think he was I think he was a first year title winner. Yeah.
The Iguodala MVP, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. They would have I'm still on team they would have won the year before if Bogut didn't hurt. I'll probably die as maybe the only guy to saying that. But I mean, it was before the podcast, obviously, but I was really a fan of them winning.
Hey man, there's a lot of takes I'll take to the grave. I think if Pachulia doesn't step on Kawhi's ankle, they're not a dynasty.
Who is it?
The Warriors, because they wouldn't have had the consecutive like finals appearances or whatever they had. It wouldn't have been like 4 or 5 straight. It would have been 3 and then 1 or 2 separately.
Maybe. But if they had Bogut that year, they would have already won 2. That's the thing.
That's very true. Very true.
That's the tough part. Bogut was eating that year.
Bogut got hurt in the comeback, the 2016, right?
The year before they won, he got hurt too.
Well, I remember that, but I mean, he was playing the 2016 year,
yeah,
and then got hurt in the final. Like he came back from something and got hurt again. I think
he did. Yeah, I think you're right. Yep. Yeah. Bogut was like a top 5 center. He was catching lobs. Like it was crazy those first 3 years he was there. I mean, the first 3 years that they were good.
The big man passing, like he kind of made that trend. He made limited centers doing that a trend.
Yeah, and not having to go right back up. Like that was something I think Mark Jackson really instilled in them. Like we don't have to go right back up because 3-pointers are wide open on the offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
Wide open. And Bogut was getting 4 or 5 assists like every game. Felt like.
Really, hey, KD really ruined. Like it would have been so interesting to talk about them and how their last 7-8 years would have looked without KD, but
I know.
We'll never know.
Yeah, because they still would have gotten somebody if it wasn't KD.
Probably.
And I was really interested to see who they got.
And I'm still mad they didn't. It would have been tough for teams to beat them.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah. Yep. Cool. So coming up, we'll be back after probably the first 2 games again. Yeah. Good playoffs so far though.
I know, man. Crazy shit going on.
I don't think I would have picked these final 4 teams if you gave me 5 chances when the playoffs started. I definitely would have had Memphis. Well, I shouldn't say that when the playoffs started. I mean, midway through the year, probably. I would have had Memphis. I definitely would have had Phoenix. I definitely would have had Milwaukee.
I was really sure of Phoenix, Golden State.
I don't know. Golden State was so unhealthy this season. Everybody, I think all starters had a stint of missing games this season.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter for them.
Right. That's true. And I mean, who would have predicted Poole being the third Splash brother?
Nobody.
So, yeah.
Literally nobody.
Right. Yep. So anyway, thank you for listening, everyone. We will see you next time. Please subscribe, follow us on socials at No Clue Podcast. Go check out our merch, all the other good stuff, and we will see you guys next time.